Thank you, devotees. Read from 2.7. Sparshan kritva bahirbhahyam stakshuhu chaiva antare bhruvoh prana apanau samau kritva nasa abhyantara charinau. Nasa abhyantara charinau. So, shutting out all external sense objects, keeping the eyes and vision concentrated between the two eyebrows. Suspending the inward and outward breaths within the nostrils and thus controlling the mind, senses, and intelligence, transcendentalist. Aiming at liberation becomes free from desire, free and anger. One was always in the state of suddenly liberated. Being engaged in Krishna consciousness, one can immediately understand one's spiritual identity. And then one can understand the Supreme Lord by means of devotional service. Very nice point. So, if one actually chants Hare Krishna mantra, what happens? The mind becomes completely turned inward. When the mind is completely turned inward, then one can actually see the real nature of the mind, intelligence, body, and the distinction between the body and the self becomes very distinct. But as long as the mind is absorbed in sense objects, the identity will be thrown outside. So right now, if someone asks us who we are, it's very difficult for us to answer. The reason is because our identity is constantly changing with so many designations, so many roles, so many responsibilities that we can't think of a continuous I. It is getting dissipated by so many vikaras, so many agitations. It's not possible. To know the real self, this identity has to become purified. To give you an example, uh, say there is nice sugary sweet that is done, but that sweet is mixed with so much water. It's very watery. Then, like for instance, take even like fudge that we make for Krishna, like the barfi. So when it is mixed with so much water, we can't understand what it actually is, the intensity of that sweetness. We can't understand. But when all the water is evaporated, right, then the distinction between what is the real sweet and everything else becomes more distinct. Or you can take the example of ghee and milk also. You can take the example of oil and the seed also. The oil is present within the seed. But when the oil is churned, you get the seed is churned, then you get oil. The seed is ground, then you get the oil. The oil is present, but we can't see. The oil is spread too much everywhere right now. And we can't see the oil distinctly. We can't see the oil distinctly. So when the mind is turned inward, when all the sensations are subdued, that's the good word, subdued, then what happens? We can see the soul distinct from matter, shining forth like a sun. But without that without that realization, without the mind being turned inward, it appears the same. The soul is the same, body is the same, everything appears the same. We can't see any distinction. It's not possible to see the distinction. So, Prabhupada says, being engaged in Krishna consciousness and immediately understand one's spiritual identity. So, when the mind is hearing the Hare Krishna mantra, the mind is freed from everything external. That's what Krishna says in the shloka. And then once we can understand the soul is distinct, then wherever you put it, it will see the temporality of matter. This is the characteristic of someone who has merely understood the difference between soul and matter. He has not advanced to devotional service yet. He has simply understood the distinction between soul and matter. And if you put that soul anywhere, he won't be interested in material life, because he'll understand this is not me. Everything here is temporary. All they are talking about is complete foolishness, because ultimately it's not real. What they are talking about is a merely an apparition, is merely an appearance. Hmm? So this prakashayati tatparam, prakashayati, which means what? It, you can see it. This jnanam, this knowledge is revealed in his heart, like a sun shines through, and he is clearly able to see the Atma, like one can see the sun. No? So this is compared to the sun has not risen yet. Okay, even when the sun has not risen, you can see the sunlight lightening up the sky. Similarly, this Brahman realization, when one understands the distinction between the soul and matter, is compared to lightening up the sky. The sun has not risen, Krishna has not arisen, the beautiful Lord has not arisen in one's heart, because that Lord is revealed only through devotional service. Bhaktya mam abhijanati yavan yastasmi tattvataha tato man tattvato jnatva vitate tarantaram bhaktya tunanyaya shakyaham evam vidorjuna jnatum drashtum cha tattvena praveshtum cha parantapa. Bhaktya to ananyaya shakya. Only by ananya bhakti can I be understood. Aham evam vidho Arjuna. Evam aham evam. Only by that I am understood. Jnatum, you can know me. Drashtum, seeing me. Praveshtum cha, can enter into me. Right? Only by bhakti is he realized, not by jnana, not by any other means. Right? So, but before he appears, one can see the soul just like the sunlight is appearing in the sky. So, Prabhupada is saying, when one is well situated in devotional service, though, one comes to the transcendental position, qualified to feel the presence of the Lord in the sphere of one's activity. This particular position is called liberation in the Supreme. After explaining the above principles of liberation in the Supreme, the Lord gives instruction to Arjuna as to how one can come to that position by the practice of mysticism or yoga known as Ashtanga Yoga, which is divisible into an eightfold procedure called Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Prati, Ahara, Dharana, Dhyana, and Samadhi. The sixth chapter, the subject of yoga, is explicitly detailed. At the end of the fifth, it is only preliminary explained. One has to drive out the sense objects as sound, touch, form, taste, and smell, but the pratyahara process in yoga. So, prati ahar. Now, ahara means what? So, we know one type of ahar. One type of ahar is where we simply eat the food. And when we eat the food through our mouth, we can taste it. This is one type of ahar. This is the ahar that we know traditionally as, which is the sense of taste. This is one ahar. But in the system of Krishna consciousness, when we talk about seeing, when we talk about ahar, when we talk about enjoyment, um, this takes many forms. This takes many forms. So it takes the form of seeing, hearing, it takes the form of touching, it takes the form of all the five sensations. Okay, Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha. So we are talking about Ahar on all levels, right? On all levels, from all sensations. So right now, the soul is enjoying through all sense objects. It is eating through the eyes. It is eating. Eating means enjoying. That is ahar. So Krishna consciousness means to become an ahar to Krishna. Material life means So material life means that I want to enjoy. I want to eat something. This is material ahar. You see? So this is material ahar where I am eating something and something is being eaten. This is material ahar, right? But Krishna consciousness is that I am the bhogya. This is what Krishna is going to say in the next shloka, right? He says bhoktara vikratavasam. Right? If Krishna is the bhokta, then what am I? I am the bhogya. I am the enjoyed. I'm the enjoyed. So I was saying like how in the Ashtanga Yoga, the senses will go out and the eyes will go and see the form and they want to eat that form, right? So you have to change the definition of what you see as eating, right? The eyes will go and eat that form. The ears will go and eat that sound. The nose will go and eat that smell. And the skin will go and want to eat that sensation, right? And in this way, the tongue will want to eat that taste. In this way, each senses are going out, okay, right now to have their own respective sensations and to eat. This is the process of ahara. Krishna, the shloka is telling, if you do pranayama, which means you're balancing there is a process called kumbhaka, rechaka, right? You're basically inhaling the air and exhaling the air and suspending the air. When you do that, what happens? So the Ashtanga Yoga, Patanjali compares this like you're capturing the bird through a net. Okay, you're capturing the bird through a net. The bird cannot fly. Similarly, the bird which wants to fly are compared to the senses. They want to fly in the sky. They want to fly into the world of sense objects. But when you cast a net over the birds, then what happens? The birds are arrested. Similarly, the pranayama, what it does is, it arrests the tendency of the mind to go outward and enjoy the sensations of the outside world. So this is called prati ahar, which means it's going out to enjoy, but you're again detracting it back. Krishna mentions this in the 6th chapter. Yato yato manaha nischalati sanchalam asthiram tato tato niyamya atmani eva vasham nayed. Right? When it goes out, you don't let it go out and enjoy it. You're doing prati ahar. You're not letting it serve as the enjoyable object. This is a mechanical process. Okay. Now the Ashtanga yogi desists from this enjoyment because of the fact that it causes him pain. This is the grounds on which he actually performs his pratyahara. But the devotee does not give up material enjoyment because it gives pain. Because the devotee feels that if I enjoy material object, then it stands as an obstacle for me offering myself as an object of enjoyment to my dear Lord. Okay? He must be the one enjoying. I should not be the one enjoying. Right? My dear Lord must enjoy me. So this is the attitude by which he renounces material enjoyment. But a jnani or an Ashtanga yogi renounces material enjoyment because of the fact it gives him pain. Now that is true for sure. Okay, material objects give us pain. That's true. But a devotee is ready to engage with things that give him pain also for the sake of the satisfaction of the Lord. Right? So the grounds of vairagya, renunciation for a devotee is different from a jnani or an Ashtanga yogi. A devotee also does pratyahara. Like it's going out, it comes back. He also does pratyahara. But instead of, putting it on a self, he says, my dear mind, bhajahure mana shri nandanandana. Right? Hey mind, don't enjoy these objects. Offer this to my dear Lord. My dear Lord. So this mamata is more. His urgency, his tendency to be the bhogya for the bhokta is more than to not be the bhokta. If you simply think I should not be the enjoyer, I'm not the bhokta, I should be the seer. This is artificial. But if one gives himself as the bhogyam for the Lord, Krishna, you enjoy me. So this is the meaning of Ahamannam, Ahamannam, Ahamannam. The Chandogya Upanishad says. It's a very famous uh, verse that Ahamannam, Ahamannam means I am the enjoyed object. So there is Annamaya, Paranamaya, Manomaya. So many mayas are there. So many levels of consciousness are there. The beginning is that I am eating and the food is being eaten. The last consciousness is that I am the food that is being eaten. Krishna is the enjoyer who's eating. Complete opposite. Right? I am the enjoyed. This is called Brahma Bhuta platform. Right? So anyway, my point is when the breathing is done, it stops all enjoyment mechanically. Mechanically, it's an anesthesia. Like Tylenol goes inside and just stops pain. Similarly, pranayama stops the agitation, which is the foundational aspect of Rajoguna. And without agitation, I can't enjoy. I can't get the feeling of enjoyment. Actually, there is no enjoyment in Rajoguna. There is a feeling of enjoyment in Rajoguna because of Prakshepatmika Shakti. So this Prakshepatmika Shakti is temporarily suspended, okay, by pranayama. Why do I say temporarily suspended? Because it will only work as long as the pranayama is continuing to work. 1 second. So as long as it is suspended, okay. So this is the pranayama. So by practice of such yoga, one is able to gain control over the senses, refrain from outward sense objects, and thus prepare oneself for liberation of the Supreme. So whatever this Ashtanga yoga is accomplishing, a devotee also should accomplish. A devotee should not see anything other than Krishna. He should not hear anything other than Krishna. He should not smell anything other than Krishna. He should not taste anything other than Krishna. He eats Krishna, he sees Krishna, he smells Krishna. Right? So this is the meaning of Krishna consciousness. Right? So if he sees anything else other than Krishna, then he cannot make progress. It's not possible. It's not possible. So one must not think this is only applicable for an Ashtanga yogi, where all sensations are stopped. No. While I'm chanting Hare Krishna mantra, all the senses that are going outside must be suspended inside. So, and how do we do that? Right? Either we can do two ways. One, by virtue of love that we have accrued by attentive hearing from a pure devotee. When we hear from a pure devotee, right, how Rukmini Devi understood about Krishna, right, by hearing, we get love for Krishna when we hear from a genuine source. When we hear from a pure devotee, 100% one will have affection for Krishna arising in one's heart. If one is not getting that feeling, then either one, is definitely having some duplicitous tendency, or definitely one is not hearing from a pure devotee. Either of it is true. And if that's not happening, by when we are chanting, we are not able to, appreciate whom we are. The tattva of Krishna is not clear yet. Okay, then we must hear more and we must beg more from Krishna. Krishna, the obstacles, I'm again, my mind is going outside. It's I'm making a fool of myself. So one must beg Krishna. One must not be inactive, thinking that let the senses go outside. No, one must be vigilant and beg Krishna. Krishna, my senses are going outside. I have nothing to do with this world. I'm your part and parcel. I've fallen down. In this way, one must have Vijnapti. Vijnapti means what? To tell Krishna one's problems. So we should not think that, okay, I'll just hear and chant Hare Krishna mantra and then some magic will happen. No, we must actively try to surrender. Surrender means what? Surrender means the senses must not go outside. Right? The senses must go only towards Krishna. The senses are going outside and enjoying the sense objects. Then Krishna is in the 6th chapter, right? What is the shloka? Nahi sanyasanadeva yoga siddhim samadhigacchati. No, what is the shloka? Forgot the shloka. So if one is not able to renounce sense objects, right? One is still having that laulyam, the lobha. for the sense object, it is going outside again and again, then yogi bhavati kastana. One cannot become a yogi, Krishna says. It's not possible. Right? The aspiration to go towards the sense objects must be stunted. How is it stunted? By begging at the lotus feet of the Lord, by begging at the lotus feet of the spiritual master. So this is our process. So either we already have rati from our previous births, which most of us might not have. At least I don't have. So what is the hope then? Beg Krishna, left, right, center, always, and adore him as our dearmost object. Take him with us, and beg him, beg Krishna, beg the spiritual master. Don't be proud that my current situation is very good, that I don't have to beg. No, it will be taken away. It will be snatched away. Will be kicked out of the situation very soon. So one should not be very idle and think, okay, I'm in a very good situation right now. This level of advancement is sufficient. Okay, if you think it is sufficient, okay, good for you. Actually bad for you. Right? This level of advancement you have made or we have made is absolutely inadequate, right? And it's very dangerous position. So we should immediately start begging Krishna very intensely. So that's the process. So we'll continue the next shloka. I think I only read the first one, so we'll read from 5.28 as well tomorrow. Start with devotees. Hare Krishna.